Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tradesman Experience. This is the podcast built by tradesmen for tradesmen. My name is Josh. In the virtual studio is, of course, the talent, Mr. Nate Newton. Nate, how are you, sir?
Dude, long time no see, buddy.
It's been a minute.
Like a month.
Feels like it. It's crazy. Dude, shout out to Bourbon and Ballistics. I enjoyed that conversation.
Yeah, dude, I had a lot of fun with that one. It was very easy. He's such an easy guy to talk to. You know? And who doesn't love talking about themselves? So especially me.
I loved everything from the authenticity to the bullshit. Like it was such a fun conversation.
It was, dude. And he's a really good interviewer too. Like, I could tell he had a list of questions and like he tried to stick to it the best he could, but like to watch him adjust his questions as the conversation went on, I thought he does a killer job, as an interviewer and as a conversationalist too, and dude, and like the fun part about that is like I see all the different people that he has on there and it's a very digestible podcast, and Joel's a good dude and he actually lives like fucking 2 minutes from my house, so
sweet.
Like I drove around the corner and I was like, I probably should have just walked as a fat fuck that I am right now,
How was that 5.9? Because I've had it before.
It was good. It's surprisingly good. And I didn't bring this up on his podcast because I didn't want to be rude about it, but it's from Troll Clothing Company. I fucking can't stand those motherfuckers, dude. That dirty hands, clean money bullshit. Like everybody you see rocking that shit on the job site's the laziest piece of shit. Now they're just there for the fucking Instagram pictures,
I thought the same thing because I'm like, because I do like it. I was drinking it one night. Matt had a bottle of it for some reason, and so I was drinking it. And surprising, I'm like, I really like this. This is good. Didn't know anything about the history because I don't care enough to spend time on that. But when he said it's from Troll Clothing, I was like, God damn it, I don't like it now.
Yeah. Well, because we were talking about that afterwards, and he works for NDOT, and
that's right.
Yeah, so I was like, dude, I don't want to say nothing on your podcast. Just I don't want to be rude, but I'm like, I fucking can't stand that dirty hands, clean money shit. And he's like, dude, I swear they're the laziest people on a job site. I'm like, fucking straight up, dude.
It is. It's all for the gram.
It is a beacon of showing up for the gram. Like, dude, and I like. There was a guy that used to work for me that he was like borderline modeling for him, right? Just the biggest fucking douchebag. It ended up not working out, evidently. But like, dude spent more time on his fucking phones trying to set his fucking camera up to take a picture of him doing some half decent weld in some very easy position, and I'm like, dude, the welds are impressive. You can't even take pictures of because nobody can fucking see them, like, so yeah, I don't know. I appreciate the thought that he put into that for, just for the simple fact that like, yeah, the blue collar, lifestyle and, like he is very thoughtful when it comes to the stuff that he brings out for people. And I'm just like, that's fucking awesome, dude. And was I correct about your second favorite whiskey?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Three Fingers.
Yeah,
right?
the Three Fingers.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, which I haven't had in a couple years.
Yeah,
but it's definitely Breckenridge, Three Fingers, Knob Creek. It's probably a number 3 for me now.
I'm a hobble down the street till I reach Knob Creek.
And Basil Hayden's always a staple for me.
That's another good one. Yeah,
really enjoy that. But yeah,
so, luckily we didn't drink that whole bottle of Powder Hound, and I think we made it about a quarter way through it. But I was just like, all right, that's going straight. I actually drove from Joel's house straight to the shop to go put the bottle here at the shop, so that way I went home, because if I leave that shit at my house, gone. Dude, that was a fucking $120, $130 bottle. That's the most I've ever spent on a bottle of whiskey. And I'll probably never spend that same amount again. It was more of a novelty thing, but it's a fucking amazing bottle of whiskey.
Good.
So
save me a sip.
Yeah, I'll do my best. I'll throw a nipple on it to slow me down.
That's fine. I know I tried it when I was there, but I have no recollection of the specific whiskeys that I drank when I was at Breckenridge.
Dude, that shit hits a little different at 10,000 feet, man.
And straight in the building they make it. It's just it does hit different.
It does, dude. And like I tried. When I say everything that they make, I am dead serious. I tried everything that they make.
You drank everything but the toilet water.
I might have tried that too. I'm like, how good is this Breckenridge water?
Snowmelt, huh? Yeah. We're gonna dip out of the urinal. Yeah. Are these urinal cakes? Did you guys make these too? I'm gonna try one. Which I never knew why they call them urinal cakes instead of piss biscuits, but that was just a marketing thing for me.
Biscuits.
Biscuits. Yep. Good old biscuits.
Yeah. But yeah, dude. I mean, I probably sampled 35 to 40 spirits that day. You know, and like, I mean, you did the tour. They're not shy with the ones that they give you in the snifter during the tour.
No,
you know, and then we went up to that little bar at the checkout line there, and we tried all their infused vodkas, their fucking gin. And they actually served us the vodka and the gin on the tour. I don't know if they did that with you as well.
They did not.
Okay, but the tour guide that we had, Lucas, the kid's he's the shit, dude. He's fucking awesome. But because Minden Mill is open back up down here. It's $140 million distillery that's just blows your fucking mind. We were just there last weekend, actually. But it was kind of cool because he was like, off beat, I'm going to give you guys the vodka that we distill here and the gin that we distill here. This is what we're going to start with on the tour. And the reason why I'm doing that is because when you start a distillery, you can't tap into your whiskey for the first, I think it's 4 years. It has to age before you can call it a whiskey. So in order to supplement income, we did vodka and we did gin. And we actually got pretty good at vodka and gin. And like, I've never been able to taste the difference between vodkas. And I don't know if it's just bias or, you know, whatever. But that vodka there was no burn to it. Like, it fucking went down smooth. And I'm like, that probably shouldn't be allowed to the public because that's fucking dangerous, you know? Like,
so good. They're so good at what they do. Were you surprised at how small that place is?
Yes, absolutely. Because, you know, if you go to Minden, have you been inside Minden Mill?
I have.
Yeah. So, like, you see have you been in the creamery? Not in the silos, but where their actual production lines are at.
Is that where the big copper stills are?
No, those are the Scotch stills that are in the silos.
That's right.
Yeah. So back in the creamery, that same still that they have in the back room at Breckenridge, there's 2 of those that are about twice the size of that one that are at Minden Mill. And like going to Minden Mill and then going to Breckenridge, I'm like, dude, how the fuck do you guys produce as much as you do? Like, I don't understand how you guys are able to crank. I'm like, no wonder fucking we run out, you know, every couple months. Right. I can't find it anywhere, you know.
I thought the same thing. I was like, you know, I'm like, do you guys have another building? Is this just the showcase? And it's like, no, that's where they do all of their stuff. And I was impressed. I mean, because everything they do is just very intricate and specific.
Yeah. And it was a project passion for somebody, you know.
Yeah.
And then it took off, and I think he ended up, so he sold it to some cannabis company out of Alberta, and with the stipulation he gets to remain CEO. He's like, you don't get to fuck with my product. You don't get to fuck with how we do things. We're still going to run things the way I want it run. I'm just going to take a fat paycheck, and you guys can take all the profits off of the, dude, I mean, it's made a great name for itself. So
we probably helped
fix it. Oh, dude, I was like, they went around and they were asking me like, you know, what's your favorite drink? Like, what do you usually drink? And they got to me, and I was just like, I came all the way over here from South Lake Tahoe just to come to this distillery. I'm pretty sure I keep the lights on in this place. So.
Yeah, there's I think between Breckenridge and Fat Bottom Betty cigars, we've had the privilege of introducing people to some pretty great things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I was talking to, because I posted all that shit on Instagram, and Ken Shoemaker, he was like, hey, bring me like a bottle. That's funny because he's not drinking right now. Dude, have you seen Ken lately?
Yes.
He's fucking jacked,
Jacked.
bro. He's fuck. I'm like, God damn it. Now I got to go do something because that's motivating.
It is motivating.
But the dude's fucking jacked right now. He's not drinking. So I brought him back some little bullshit keychain. Just like, all right, well, you're not drinking, so you're gonna bring me something back, But
dude is man, it saw one of his recent posts. I'm like, shit.
Dude, with as big as he is naturally, and then when he's working out and getting cut, like a big fucking dude.
He's a big dude. He's just
I would not want to meet him in an alleyway.
Look, no. You wouldn't see any light behind him. He's
right. Well, but
the
funny thing is, when you get to know him, he's like the nicest fucking dude on the face of the planet. So
absolutely.
There's something about being that size. We're not worried about being beat up. You just get to be nice to everybody.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to, there's no ego involved. You're like, I'll eat you.
Yeah. How about we just hug this out, bro?
Yeah, I very, very proud of Ken for the work that he's putting in, and you can see it. It is inspiring,
dude. And when your wife's a former Miss Olympia contestant, it's like you got some big shoes to fill, motherfucker.
Right.
But you also have the greatest resource at your disposal, right there.
That's right.
Yeah,
good for him. Very, very proud of him. And Matt and I were talking about just exercise and lifting the other day, and he said he had talked to Ken, and Matt was like, "Dude, he's like, what are you doing differently?" And Ken was like, "More recovery." And I'm like, "Yeah, motherfucker. When you get in your 40s, like, I'm sorry, you can still be an animal in your 40s, but the recovery is different."
Yeah. Well, I'm sitting there just saying, I don't know. I'm not 40 yet, but I look and feel like I'm there.
Yeah, you already passed 40s. Nate.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I'm older than you.
I think so.
Biologically, not chronologically, but biologically.
Biologically, yes.
I'm breaking down at an astonishing rate.
You make me look like Benjamin Button over here.
Or like Benjamin's butthole.
Oh, well, that too. Very hairy butthole. Jesus.
Are we gonna talk about anything important today?
Okay, I don't know.
Talking shit.
Talking shit. I'm drinking coffee.
I got water.
In my mind, it was Breckenridge, though. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I tipped this cup. I was like, "This is gonna be so good." Yeah. Oh fuck, it's coffee.
Oh, God damn it! That's right. I'm at work. Fuck.
Wait, this isn't a Hold My Beer episode. What day is it? Jesus Christ! No, some of the stuff that we're working through in the business right now, Greg and I, is the ups and downs, the high peaks and the low valleys of business. And Greg and I, we probably talked for an hour this morning. And when you're in it, like when you're so close, it looks and feels devastating because it is. I think one of the maturities of business and one of the things about understanding business is it's always up and down. It's a constant ticker tape of ebb and flow. And you and I have discussed this before, but everybody gets a fucking vote for your business. Your team, the weather, the vendors, the client, list it out, right? Everything gets a vote. And as Greg and I kind of talked off the ledge this morning, he's like, "Look, I know we're going to be fine. It's just really painful right now." And I think that maturing in business and having that confident patience is so important to remember.
Well, and this is the difficult thing about those ebb and flows, because it wasn't until this last year. Like, we have gone through so much shit in the last year. And I noticed myself taking it a lot better, which made me panic more. I was like, oh, fuck. Like, is it when your back's against the wall that you make different decisions and you're more dialed in on trying to alleviate the pain of what's going on? If I'm not high strung like I have been in the past, are we gonna make it out? And the answer is yes. Yes, I am stressed out, don't get me wrong, but I don't feel like I'm gonna fucking die if this doesn't fucking work. you know, like, and especially in those first couple of years where everything that you have is invested in the business and it's do or die, right? And then, like you're saying, that level of maturity shows up and it's just do. You know, you can kind of eliminate that die side of it, you know? It's like, dude, this too shall pass, right? Like, and you just, I'm not even sure if it's maturity or if it's just hardening, you know? Like, we've seen this before. Not in the same way, but we've seen this before. But we'll fucking get through it. We always do, you know? And having the gall to fucking put a smile on your face and weather that storm. Everybody else is freaking out. And it almost builds this sense of leadership equity when everything's on fire and your leader is just like, we're going to be all right. Calm down. Let's just fucking do the work and just keep plugging along. You know, we'll do whatever it takes to get it done, but just fucking relax. Dude, you know, that builds a lot of equity with your team.
And that is a very fine balance, because I think naturally we want to protect our team from the reality. When things are great, we're transparent.
Yeah.
Everything's great. We're in a good mood. They're in a good mood. Everybody's busy. Everybody's making money. We're getting work done. When things aren't going right and we still put on the facade that everything is okay, that's where we have to be careful. And this is something that I'm learning more and more about too. At what level of transparency do we have to reach and yet not scare our team away? Because if the sky is falling, well, then they start becoming concerned with their own employment. If they look at you and you are calm and confident and you're wearing a happy face and you think everything, it looks like you think everything is fine, but the messaging that they're getting is that they're not doing enough, or they're too much rework, or they're going over on jobs, or this kind of stuff, it creates confusion, and confusion is oversimplifying it. So this is something that I'm dealing with right now. Again, it's like, what level of transparency do we provide without instilling fear?
Well, I did, but I don't think we should completely walk away from that level of fear either. Like, if we're not fucking doing the job, we're not getting it done, you know, within the time frame that it does need to be done, we can't continue to do this. Yes, your job is at stake. Everybody's job is at stake. Like we were talking about the other day. It's fucking Patriots in the Super Bowl and a fucking wide receiver drops a fucking pass in the end zone and loses the game. It ain't that motherfucker that loses. It's the whole goddamn team that loses. And yeah, if you're not doing your job, you should be worried about your fucking position. You know, and I don't think that that's a bad level of fear for an employee to have, for a team member to have. You know, like, you can be replaced. I want you here. I do. I want you here. And I'll give you every fucking tool, opportunity, everything under the sun to make sure you're successful. But if you don't hold up your end of the bargain, your balls are on the chopping block. You know, I'm not a fearmonger. I'm not a tyrant, you know, but I'm a realist. And I think that's important.
Some of the truth comes out also is understanding, are people in the right position, and how are we educating them? Because believe it or not, and this is something I know leaders and business owners struggle with all the time, it is our responsibility to educate and elevate our team. And a lot of people want to step back and go, well, I didn't need someone to tell me what to do. No shit. That's why you own the business now. You're one of the fraction of percentage of people that has that innate ability to self-start. Good for you. That's why you're here.
Right.
But when you make the decision to hire people, you also take on the responsibility of educating them. Sometimes we have to unfuck them. A lot of times it feels like we're raising somebody else's kids. even if they're 40, right?
Yep.
And not that it's your responsibility for what they decide to do. It's your responsibility to make that offer, to make that opportunity, to pour into them. And then if they just can't, they can't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we can open the doors. They're gonna walk through them.
That's right.
And you gotta make sure that you held up your end of the bargain, that you open the door and open it all the way. And if you don't want to step through it, I'm gonna close that door.
Mm-hmm.
And it's every day is go time. Like, oh, I'm gonna start preparing to do this. No, it's today's the fucking day, motherfucker. Let's go. Like, and you told me something that Jerome told you that I find to be fascinating. I want this to be a company that you're invited to work at. That when you said that to me, via Jerome, I'm just like, what a fucking cool goal to have for a business. And the only way we get there is by having big swinging dicks on the forefront. Trim the fucking fat, get rid of the people that aren't going to fucking step up to the plate and rise to the occasion. Quit fucking around with slapdicks. And I think that's almost a goal for me at this point. It's like, I don't want to bitch about the lack of skill and the lack of motivation in the trades anymore. I'm just going to go find it. If you're not going to fucking play ball with me, if you're not going to step up to the fucking plate and hit home runs, it's probably not the place for you, man. I'll help you find somewhere else to go, but it ain't fucking here, because that ultimately, dude, we started this business to elevate the trades. We started this podcast. 5 fucking years of our lives are dumped into this thing to elevate the trades. And yet it's almost like we're beating our head against the wall half of the time, trying to elevate people that don't want to be elevated. And I'm just tired of complaining. Like that's the same philosophy I take with the football program. I am tired of bitching about the youth. Let's go make killers. Let's go make monsters. Let's do that. Let's go find them. They don't show up at your door from fucking Indeed.
No.
You got to go find them. That's with whatever round of bullshit has happened here in the last month, that's my big push right now is let's quit complaining about it and let's go find the fucking killers and let's get to work and do real shit. I don't know why I feel so motivated to do that now. It's almost like I've been going through these coaching clinics for football and had some problems here with teams. And I think there was just a bunch of shit clicked all at once. And it's like, okay, the approach is wrong right now. I'm not getting the result because my approach isn't what it should be. So now I'm taking a different approach.
I think that's part of growth and leadership. And at some point you recognize that you can't sacrifice the standard and expectation to meet somebody else's performance. And at the same time, the scarcity mindset kicks in. Well, what if I can't find somebody to replace them? So you end up in a hostage situation.
Well, you won't find somebody with that fucking attitude.
I agree. So when I look at that, I think of it as I would rather have 5 monsters than 10 average people
every fucking day of the week, dude. Yep.
And pay them more, set them up because that's what they want. And that performance proves it. The average people that want the excellent paycheck, we talked about this, a few weeks ago, the participation trophy. And with the same reward, with the same reward for less effort, for lower performance. And one of the things that I believe and talk about all the time is if you want to be different, you have to do shit differently. Do it differently. You want to have a company where you have to be invited to be a part of. The standard that has to be within has to be so high that there's people standing at the door.
Yep.
And you look at them like the Spartans at birth and go, no, and they get tossed over the side, right?
That one's got a lumpy butt. We're done.
Done. You're dead. And it takes a lot of work to get there. It takes a lot of leadership to get there. It takes a lot of, proficient operations to do that. But it's not, I don't think it's unachievable. I think it's 1000% possible. And it's the exact same model that we're building right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, no, I don't want to interview people. I want to recruit winners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you look at, the industries, it's like, well, what if I could recruit the top player from each place?
Mm-hmm.
That is literally all I need to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I need for them to be successful.
Right.
That's all I need for the company to be successful. Like, that's it. Give me the top player of each place, bring him here, and I'll take away all of the pain that they experience of low performance where they are, and give them all the opportunity that they could hope for.
Yep. With every fucking resource at their disposal and double the salary.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. If I got 5 fucking goons with me, as opposed to 10 slapdicks, you bet your fucking ass, dude, I'm willing to fucking put that salary into you. If you can do the work of 2 fucking dudes, you should get paid twice the amount. And that, dude, it's not just grit and determination at that point. It's intelligence. It's integrity. It's communication. Like, this isn't just like I'm a really hard worker. Yeah, fucking you and every other motherfucker with a shovel in their hand, dude. Like, no, we're looking for complete packages at this point.
Right.
And this lesson pops up for me over and over and over again. And that is the lingering effect of bad employees. And I noticed that every time I let this shit happen, it's because I'm in a spot. And I don't realize that I'm making that spot 10 times worse by letting shitty people stick around. And whether that's attitude, performance, whatever you want to fucking call it. But dude, when somebody is gone and 6 months later, you're still cleaning up their bullshit. Like, God damn it, I should have fucking cut him so much sooner. And like the negative impact of bad employees is so much more detrimental than you not having employees.
Because no employees don't cost you money.
Right.
My friend Steve Rosenberg shared a statistic with me recently. He said the average bad hire costs you $60,000.
Dude. Yep. I'm thinking just about like this rework that I'm going through right now with some shit between materials and labor and logistics and all that. Yeah. I could trace that number back for the last 5 years and tell you that's a true number. Some of them exceed that, but
it's an average.
Yeah. Even that one motherfucker that, dude, he cost me about $100,000. I can probably pull receipts and show you exactly why that's $100,000 bad employee.
Right. Yeah. Let's dive into that a little bit more, because what I want to take away from people is the excuse of labeling a bad employee. Right. You have to have the things that we talk about. You have to have good leadership. You have to have good systems and operations. You have to constantly build culture. You have to pour into your people. You have to create opportunity. You've got to develop RREs. You've got to coach them up. You have to do all of these things. And at the end of the day, a bad employee is a bad employee. What you can't do is be lazy about all of those things and label somebody as a bad employee.
Yes. Don't use your employees as a fucking scapegoat for your shitty leadership. And like, when somebody leaves here, when somebody quits this place, I always take that to heart. Because it's like, what did I do wrong as a leader? And sometimes I can find the reason why it was me. There's other times where that motherfucker's just not coachable, you know? And being real with yourself, you know, because nobody's gonna be harder on me than I am. But I've gotten a lot better about being realistic with my approach to these things. Because I can't keep beating myself up over every goddamn decision everybody else makes. Right. But I think that's the burden of a quality leader, is that when bad things happen, you're gonna look at yourself first and go, fuck, like, what did I not do? You know, and then but make that a brief and explorative process. And once it's done, then be done with it. Don't sit there and dwell on this shit and fucking beat your head against the wall because some fucking asshole doesn't want to step up to the fucking plate, or they're fucking entitled, you know, or, you know, they just don't understand. A lot of shit can be chalked up to those three right there. And the entitlement side of it's pretty fucking prevalent right now, you know? So, I mean, if you're going to do your best to bring the highest performers in here, you have to be very self-aware. But with that self-awareness, you can't destroy yourself with that self-awareness. And don't turn self-awareness into self-critique. You know, you should always be critical of yourself, but don't make other people's mistakes your fault all the time. You know what I mean?
Understanding the depth of accountability.
That's, you know, perfect, elegant as per usual. You know,
well, I am.
I'm over here finger painting, and you're trying to get the Michelangelo on the ceiling. You know,
I am a picture of elegance.
I can see it in that shiny head of yours.
You are welcome. I can tell it's getting warmer outside because it's getting hot as balls in my office. So it's probably a little bit of a sweat glow. So that, and I am drinking coffee at 11 o'clock in the morning.
You look sticky.
Like a glazed donut.
Yeah. Use condom.
It's been, or that. That wasn't on my radar at all, but I appreciate that. The which that funny tangent right there brings me to a point to coattail off of what you're saying is you have to understand when to not take yourself so serious. And I will tell you that it's an epidemic for me. I am probably too serious too much of the time, and I take myself too seriously too much of the time, and I think that turns into self-sabotage as well.
Yep. Yeah, fucking nailed it, dude. Dude, you ain't getting out alive for taking yourself so fucking seriously, you know?
Yeah. And but I think also, you know, for me, I have this fantastic privilege of being around people that help me remember that. You know, I've got Katie, obviously, and she's like the beacon of light for me to not take myself too seriously.
She's like you're 45 years old with a 27-year-old girlfriend. Calm the fuck down. You're doing fine.
She's like, pretty sure you're winning right now.
You're a white American male, man. You'll be okay.
You'll be fine. I could get a job today. You know, I've got her, the time I spend with you, the time I spend with Greg, the time I spend with Garrett. Like, to me, the conversations, even if they're about difficult things, are always uplifting. And every single time, even in, you know, some of the recent conversations you and I have had, I will get serious in the down part, and then at some point you will say something and it forces me to detach, and I'm like, oh yeah, this will be fine.
Yeah,
of course it sucks right now, of course it's painful right now, of course we're at mile 23 of a marathon right now. I'm like,
yeah,
but having that self-awareness and having that ability to have conversations with people, but also having that ability to detach and go, oh yeah, like because I have one of the disciplines that I have to have, and I'll tell you this is I have to constantly not fall in love with my own solution.
Fucking same, dude. And that's what makes Becca and Zach so fucking valuable in this office, because it's a conversation. It's not an order, you know?
Yes. And Garrett and I were working through some things, and I was like, all right, what about this? And so we kind of worked through it, and it was like, all right, what about this? And we got done, and we come up with a conclusion together, and it was ultimately the right decision. And when we got done, I told him, I said, hey, I said, one of the things that I need you to understand is I need to talk through all the different scenarios. The reason for that is, and I didn't tell him this at the time, is if I don't, I will fall in love with my own solution. And now my solution becomes the right way. And I'm like, then it becomes the only way. And then I get frustrated when it doesn't work or we don't do it. So what I explained to him, I said, hey, this is what's necessary for me. Let's throw shit against the wall, walk through it as far as we can. And at the end of the day, best idea wins. But the amount of emotional and intellectual discipline that I have to have those conversations is constant.
I think that you have to fall in love with being wrong. And that's something I've learned in the last 2 years, you know, like I have fallen in love with, I love it when somebody can change my mind. But you have to you got to bring receipts to the table though. Like you better have a good fucking argument. Cause I mean, I'm a stubborn motherfucker, you know, and I'm trying to be better about that. But if somebody can prove me wrong, I want to put more in their court. If whatever you came up with is better than what I had, well, let's see what else you got, motherfucker. You know, like, dude, the more that I sit in this office with Becca and Zach, the more I realize how fucking stupid I can be. You know, and it's 9 times out of 10 it's ego driven. I am.
Is it only 9? Is it only 9 times out of 10, Nate?
Yeah.
It's 10 out of 10. Shut up. You're giving yourself
I'm trying to have some grace with myself here, you fucking prick.
No, you're trying to hold on to your dignity. Shut up.
Yeah, dude, and like one of the fucking really cool things to watch right now too is, you know, Becca's been in here for about a year. And she's done amazing things with helping us develop systems and all this other stuff. Dude, the value of her input on operational problems, because she hears everything, you know, like she is a lifeline of Battleborn Welding. And she goes, hey, we've seen this before, you know, and like her perspective goes so much further because she's not in the shit with us. She's looking at it from the outside and going, hey, it's kind of looking like you're going to have the same fucking result as XYZ. It's like, oh shit. God damn it. Okay. We need to think about this more, you know? And even just having somebody there to get you to stop and think again. Like you said, it's falling in love with your solution and then your commitment to that solution working. But if you have somebody on the outside that can be like, hey, just saying, we've seen this before. And then you're like, okay, all right, back to the drawing board, you know, and you might even be mid-stride in whatever you're doing, but I'd much rather start making corrections halfway through it than trying to fucking turn it around at the very end. You know?
In the solution, that example that I gave with Garrett and I working through stuff, it ended up being his original proposition was what we come back to. It's what we circle back to. And it also wasn't a 30-minute conversation. This was over probably a period of, 3 to 5 days, because it was a $15,000 investment. So we didn't want to make an emotional decision. We wanted to make sure that it was the highest ROI in this thing. And yeah, we ended up coming full circle to his original proposition, but it was the way that we got there was so valuable.
Mhm.
And I have to deal with that. You know, I struggle with that daily, fucking daily. Because I still think that I'm supposed to have the answers. I still think that I'm supposed to be able to make a quick, accurate decision and get the result. And I'm like, no, you don't.
Yeah. Well, and in the beginning, yes, you do. Right. And because I don't want people to skip that step. You know, like when you're first starting out, yes, you do have to be able to do those things and you have to develop that skill. And the greatest compliment that you can give your leadership within your organization is the opportunity to do just that. And to allow, and you know, like I spent a lot of time coaching Zach up. So I walked through his decisions. I walked through, you know, whatever the problems are. And we're at the point now, I trust his decision making. He doesn't do it like I would do it, but he does it to the point where it'll get done. And dude, sometimes his solutions are better than what I would have thought of. Sometimes they're worse, but it still gets done. And that gives me confidence to let go of the fucking reins, dude. And that is the part of business maturity that some of us just can't fucking get there, is letting go of the fucking reins a bit, you know, and not even just a little bit, a lot of it. Letting somebody take over a critical part of your business that isn't an owner and isn't invested in the business by ownership. They're here because they fucking love what they do and they believe in the organization and they want to be a part of it. Give that motherfucker a chance to do something, you know? And I've had a lot of success with that over the last fucking 6 months, you know? And I'm pretty fucking proud of the team we've built here, you know? Like we have our ups and downs, you know? And that's kind of where everything started, those highs and lows, you know? But we're in one of those low spots, but I don't think I've ever been more optimistic about a low spot before, you know? And it's you start when we've been to the bottom so many times, you can start to see where the pattern starts to shift, where you know you're in the upward stroke again, you know, and then you start capitalizing on those little wins and those good decisions and, you know, the good attitudes and the, you know, throwing out the attaboys and giving somebody a $50 handshake and shit like that. Like you learn how to expedite that upstroke, because you know you're coming back down again at some point, but let's get back up as fast as we can.
I listened to something recently and basically stated, I'll paraphrase it, the quality of your highs are dictated by the depth of your lows.
I can definitely see that.
And I think it's really important to remember that, and people to remember that, because again, for me, it's easy to forget the fact that you're going to fail. There's failures ahead of you that you're not aware of yet. There's dips. There's fucking cliffs, right? There's really big pits in the road. And recognizing that the quality of the high that follows that is determined by the depth of that low. But you have to fucking keep going. And that's, I think, easier for people to give up in the low, and it's easier for people to brag on the high. But it's like, no, it's the climb that dictates your success. But when we peak and we start sliding back down again, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like you get that pit in your stomach, like on a roller coaster, like your stomach flips. And you're like, oh God, this is going to be terrible.
Well, I mean, when you've been through enough of them, you know, this up and down, you see the slide coming. At least if you have some, you know, remote sense of pattern recognition, you see the descent starting to happen, and then you're equipped to start making better decisions. When your lows have been really fucking bad, like you're slammed with work and you have a full-fledged mutiny and you have to rebuild your fucking team while you're trying to get $1 million worth of work done. When you go through something like that and you make it out, you're like, okay, I can weather just about any fucking storm, right? And it almost like empowers you to make better decisions when you're dealing with your ups and downs, right? And I mean, dude, if you've gotten your fucking teeth kicked in, take fucking pride in that, dude. it means you're doing the right thing, you know? Like you're trying to be better. If you've gotten your ass kicked throughout business, you're trying to do better.
Did you watch that reel that I posted about Jocko when he was talking about being cocky?
Oh yeah.
Oh
yes.
God,
yeah,
it was
it's so good.
It was so good.
So, do not come talk to me right before I go on stage.
Yeah, he's like, because I'm about to go destroy everybody.
Yeah.
And the reason I posted that was because for me, I was like, oh, you have to give yourself permission to be cocky, to be confident, to be great. Yeah. Like it's okay.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm about to walk into this thing and own this fucking thing. And I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. Like, I feel like it was just like this little piece that for me, that I just kept like, because I never want to come across as somebody that's arrogant and all knowing. And I try to be.
I have zero problem with that.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty even keeled, all the time. Whether my shirt's on fire or we're standing on top of a victory, like I stay pretty level paced all the time. But giving myself permission to experience the lows and giving myself permission to be great in the highs, I'm like, God damn, like that's great advice.
Yeah, it really
that's great advice. The ego comes in when you give yourself permission to be great in a low. And I'm like, now you look like a dick.
Yeah, now you're a dick. Yeah, yeah. I mean, dude, here's the thing. Like, you've done the work. You've proven that you're capable of doing this. Why not walk in with a fucking big swinging dick when you go to execute? Like that matters a lot.
It really does.
Yeah.
It really does. And that's why I reposted that reel. I'm like, man, that's
gold.
It's gold. And obviously coming from him, that's like, I mean, he's one of my favorites. So I'm like, oh yeah, I believe it. I trust it. But it's okay to shelf the humility and go in with your chest up a little bit.
Gusto?
Yeah. So
walk with a big stick, dude.
Right.
It matters,
Yep.
And that's the thing. You're almost guaranteed to win even more if you kind of quit being so humble.
Right.
Like go in there with intent to destroy.
Right.
And knowing that you're capable of destroying. Fucking salt the earth, man. Fucking go get yours, brother.
Yep.
Because your ass beating's right around the corner. So well, you might as well fucking do the most you can when you're on that peak.
So true. Yeah, it's so true. And what makes great leaders is they take people with them on that.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So anyway, I appreciate that you watched that because I thought it was just really, really valuable.
Yeah. Well, I'm also like I'm like mid stride through extreme ownership right now. So like all the Jocko shit's just fucking hitting hard.
Yeah.
So but
have you listened to that before?
No, I did Discipline Equals Freedom. I did that one first. And then then I went through some like Jordan Peterson stuff. And then now I'm on that's the thing, like I'm not on 75 hard or anything. I just like I can only do so much podcast,
Sure.
And I feel like I'm in a learning phase right now, and I think that's something to be mindful of, like understand when you're in a learning phase of life, and if you're in a learning, which is going to be riddled with failure, but if you can understand that, and if you're doing your best to proactively learn while you're in that position, dude, that shit sticks a lot fucking harder than when I'm trying to learn shit when I'm on a high stride.
Yep. What I have learned on that point, Nate, is I see three kind of a 3-step process to this. It's a learning phase, an implementation phase, and then a growth phase. And I see it in people all the time. It stands out when they hit their growth phase because you don't see them doing the work of learning. It looks like they're struggling when they're implementing. So it looks like struggle looks like failure.
Yep.
But once they hit that growth phase, you can see it.
Oh yeah. You can see the work they put in before they got there,
It's very it's very encouraging. It's very uplifting, and I love watching people hit those growth phases, because you have to collect the dots before you connect the dots.
Mm-hmm.
And you go through that collection phase again, the learning process, and you're like, oh, where in the fuck do I need to put all of these? And then, man, when they start coming together, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah. It's almost like you knew where they went.
Yeah, it's so fun. But I love that, those curves. I get burnt out on podcasts too, and I'll switch over to books and do books for a while. But yeah, man, so I'm excited now, because again, I know what follows the learning phase.
Mm-hmm.
And you just get to see that in people.
Yeah. And that's where we're at right now. We're learning, you know, and like, we're kind of doing some shit right now that's outside of what I think we've kind of hit, like almost like a leadership ceiling here, as far as like maybe some of the stuff that we have preached for so long isn't necessarily working anymore, because things have changed. And like, I'm doing some stuff that's outside of what we preach here on the podcast all the time. And I think that I'm hoping it works. And if it does, I'll come back and tell you guys in 6 fucking months, like, but I'm taking a different approach to certain things, and I'm kind of taking an old school with a new school, like, and trying to combine those things. Cause dude, I think that, especially dealing with the younger guys like Gen Z right now, dude, their rebellion is conservatism. Their rebellion is supporting Donald Trump. Their rebellion is going to the fucking gym. As to where we used to fucking smoke cigarettes and drink beer, and that was just commonplace. That's how you rebelled against your parents. Well, now everybody's parents are a bunch of liberal fucking hippies, and the way that they rebel is by being a fucking conservative, and so integrating those old school, kind of sharper, much more accountable tactics, like, getting, dude, I've told these guys this shit before. I'm like, dude, if you guys want to clock out and go duke it out in the parking lot, go fucking do so, man. Like, I don't want to deal with whatever your fucking childish bullshit is, but like, to take like a Simon Sinek approach, and then speckle in the shit that we came up in the trades through, not throwing wrenches at people, not beating people up, but this sharper, instantly accountable approach to what you do. That and I get this from the football program, like, and the respect you gain from these guys that way, when you don't buy into their bullshit, when you see right through it, and you're like, I'm going to tell you how things are. I'm not asking you for your fucking opinion on this. This is how this is going to work. And it's interesting, because I'm seeing progress with it in some places. Other places it doesn't. You'll get a guy every once in a while that you fucking crawl up his ass and he fucking folds, and he's useless the rest of the fucking day, right? It's a little counterintuitive to what we've been doing this whole time. But I think times have changed a bit too.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for people taking this information and sprinkling in their style.
Right.
I do agree with that, because I was raised up by the old breed. Yes, absolutely. Being raised, by the old breed coming up, like that was
you would think that would have made you a little more athletic.
You would think. You would think. Turns out it didn't happen that way. But like we've talked about this before in the trades. It's one of the things that frustrates me about the perception of the trades. And I really appreciated your response to Joel's question on bourbon and ballistics. And I think the question was something like, what's the greatest misperception do you think of the trades? And you said that we're dumb. And I love that answer because I think there should be a sense of pride in what we do in being tough and smart. Because you have to be both if you're going to excel.
Well, shit, even if you're going to survive
in the trade, survive. Yeah. Yes. You have to be at least tough. You can be dumb, but you have to be tough. But
right.
But yeah, to be tough and smart, that is what it takes.
Right.
And
well, like everybody's all high praises if you hyper fixate on a line of work, as long as there's some extra letters after your fucking name. But heaven forbid somebody in the trade hyper fixates on their line of work and becomes fucking amazing at what they do. Wow, you still wear a fucking blue jumpsuit, so you're a fucking idiot, right?
Right. Like, yeah, you have a PhD in your craft, and everybody thinks you're an idiot.
Exactly. Yep.
No, I appreciate that, but yeah, it's true. I mean, for me, it was like they're just gonna you had to get tough or you had to get out.
Yeah.
That was the reality of it, and people just aren't that tough anymore.
No, they're not. But I see them trying to be. Like I see that there's a respect gained when you're fucking hard on people. Fair, but hard on them. And that football program's taught me that, man. It has. I hold the cat. I'm a no bullshit motherfucker when it comes to being out on that field. And we went for a coaches meeting the other day, and I showed up right when school was getting out. And I'm running into these kids that I've coached for the last 2 years. And they're like sprinting up to me. Coach Newton, I haven't seen you. How are you? And they're like, dude, I ran some of those kids into the fucking ground. I chewed them up one side and down another. And they respect me for that, And I was like, God damn. This is something I've been missing in my leadership tactic within my organization,
Yeah, it's something we probably don't talk enough about, and we probably should, because on here we talk about the high level things, and there's a lot of dirt in leadership. There's a lot of dirty pieces of leadership. It's still leadership, but how do you hold people accountable? Again, what we were talking about, it's like, yep, I'm about to climb up and down this motherfucker.
Yep.
And I, I had a lot of those conversations with my teams, and I was, very like, okay, why didn't this work? All right, why did you make that mistake? Like, I didn't necessarily take and that's why I've said this before. So I try to get people to understand, like, you and I are in a controlled environment when we have these conversations. I am quite a bit different in the field and in the office, because I am the same way. I'm like, we are here to get shit done.
Right.
Like, the GSDMF is a real thing. And it's like, we're here to get shit done. And when you fuck up, we're going to know. And when you win, you're going to know.
Yep.
And
I think people would be thoroughly surprised to see either you or myself in our natural environment on a day-to-day basis.
We're definitely more human than people might think, but probably more aggressive than people might think. And again, like, I'm okay with that, because the people that gravitate towards you are also get shit done motherfuckers.
Right.
And people want high quality leadership, high performing leadership, and they've got to know that you can stand on that arena floor with them with a battle axe and be the first one to fucking swing it.
Yep. Couldn't have said it better myself. Yep.
So
that's leadership, man. It's from the front. Yep.
Yes, it is. But good deal, man. Happy Friday to you.
Yeah, you too, buddy.
I got I don't even know. I haven't looked at my schedule for the rest of the day. I'm not even sure. It's quiet there today. Is everybody off? No, I mean, I know you guys work 410s, but
no, I kept checking the cameras. I think somebody's in the shop right now.
Got
I don't know
it.
what the fuck they're doing, but I got guys in Reno and Carson, I think. But yeah, I mean, we try to stick to the 410s, but we like to offer up the overtime whenever we can.
You guys still got a lot of work going on,
dude. Fuck. Yeah.
Okay.
Too much, per usual. I got a hard time saying no to shit. But a lot of it's just like that's the wild part about the custom home market, is that it takes 2 years to build these houses, and all of them get they're all in different phases, And sometimes you get 4 houses that need ornamental work done all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And when ornamental shows up, it's got to get done. This is one of the last things for this house to get C of O. So fucking everybody's crawling up your ass about every little bit. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's the position we're in right now. We got like we have 4 houses, all with 60,000 plus worth of ornamental work to do, and not a ton of ornamental guys right now. So, kind of stretching these guys a little thin. You know what I mean?
It's all right. That's all right. Well, good deal. Let's get the hell out of here. You can find Nate on Instagram at Nate Newton 87. I am on Instagram at The Tradesman Experience. Email is thetradesmanexperience@gmail.com. Website's thetradesmanexperience.com. And the YouTube channel, The Tradesman Experience. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. Get out there, get shit done. Be proud to be a tradesman. See you.